Kenshi 2, when? I hear you, baby burbs. Let Mama Burb Wasabi regurgitate some of his date math wisdom worms into your awaiting mouths, my sweet and supple children. Kenshi 2 was announced March 2019, which at the time of recording is more than 4 years ago. Keep in mind that there was likely some large hiccups in production in the years that followed due to, pandemic. But there's been a sizable chunk of time since the announcement, and there is yet to be an official release date. That shouldn't disappoint us too much, as Chris is notoriously bad at predicting how long work will take. And you know what? That's absolutely something that we should be cool with. We would all much rather have it done right later than terribly sooner. But predicting workflow is Chris's shortcoming. Should it be ours? I think that with our collective big brains and cool math game skills, we can get hooked on phonics, and maybe in the midst of being tweaked out on phonemes, we can come up with something approximating an accurate prediction of when we can expect Kenshi 2. I am not an optimist, let me put it to you straight. I've heard people throwing around that it will start getting marketed heavily within the next year for a full release. I don't think that that is likely. August 2022, they started hiring for the localization process, but to me, that does not mean much. Linked in the description is a video from Hero in His Head where he discussed how it could point to about a year of localization being between us and release. However, Kenshi was developed completely backwards, so I don't think we can assume Kenshi 2 will be developed forwards. Sideways at best, I say. I'd say that all the localization push means is that they've largely finished big portions of the lore and dialogue of Kenshi 2. I mean, they also even mentioned that they're doing this very much out of order than most other productions, stating in the devlog, we are starting the translation alongside development. So, scrapping that as a gauge of where we can look for potential release dates, let's look elsewhere. We know there won't be a beta very likely, as Chris ruled that out early on, since he only released Kenshi in a beta form to help finance it. And he said that there's no need for financing it now with the financial success of the first game. That being said, he openly said before that he was taking cues from Mount & Blade early on, and Tailworlds did the same thing with Bannerlord, eventually buckling and releasing Bannerlord as a beta, likely to maintain the hype around their title. So regardless of beta or no beta, I think Chris is a smart enough man that if he wants to follow the same path of Mount & Blade, from super niche game to Chad Warband successful niche game to highly successful mainstream Bannerlord, he will need to build up hype around the launch of Kenshi 2. That likely means that we'll need to see at least 3 months of buffer time before the release to get everyone talking about it. And in that time, there will likely be much heavier promotion of the game than there currently is. Which is practically none. So we know it's not coming out within the next 3 months at least. We've got that part sorted. But what else can we glean? Kenshi 2 has had quite the drought of information over the last months. The last dev post regarding Kenshi 2 was posted Friday, June 24th, 2022. More than a year ago now as of recording. This does fit Chris's MO of going on long hiatuses of communication, then way later down the line realizing his community exists and posting what progress has been made. But right now, we're in a pickle for judging any of the progress of Kenshi 2. There have been a few screenshots and clips of tech demos, but the silence makes me think that while I'm pretty sure plenty of work has been done on Kenshi 2, it probably doesn't look very pretty yet. And that could point to maybe some learned lessons from Kenshi 1. We've gotten screenshots of very complete looking models and landscapes, even some clips of what looks to be very much functioning new systems. But also some clips showing bugs and how incomplete the game was at the time they were taken. I feel the best judgment we can make from this is that we aren't yet close to something pretty enough to hype up. But that doesn't mean we are super far from a complete game. Kenshi was mechanically very much complete, far in advance to it looking pretty. Like I said, backwards or sideways at best development. Forwards is not Chris's MO. I think genuinely, with the current drought of information, there is no way Kenshi 2 is coming out within the next 2 years. But I'd say by the end of 2025, we will likely be starting on the true and proper hype train for Kenshi 2. With, actual updates from the dev on how close to release we are. But hey, don't stress about it. At least you're hyped for Kenshi 2 and not Star Citizen. I mean, could you imagine? While I've got you here, and while we're waiting for that sweet Kenshi 2, you clearly like Kenshi. So why don't you check out this video where I turn a glob into glamorous Chad? It's just tops!